Dori Sajdak. I hope I said it right. She's going to present ColdFront, and the talk is remote, so we can go on.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dori Sajdak, Assistant Director for User Services at the University at Buffalo's Center for Computational Research. Today, I'd like to introduce ColdFront, an open source resource and allocation management platform designed specifically for high-performance computing centers. Whether you're managing a small research cluster or a large national-scale computing environment, many of the challenges around access management, reporting, and project administration are the same. Over the next few minutes, I'll explain what ColdFront is, why we developed it, how it works, and where the project is headed. At its core, ColdFront is a resource and allocation management system for HPC. It provides a single portal for researchers, system administrators, and center staff to manage projects and access to resources. We often describe it as the source of truth for an HPC center because it brings together information that is frequently spread across spreadsheets, ticket systems, databases, scripts, and institutional processes. ColdFront is open source, written in Python using the Django web framework, and designed to be extended through plugins and integrations. It supports self-service project management for research groups while giving centers the ability to automate workflows, enforce policies, and collect information needed for reporting and assessment. ColdFront grew out of real operational needs at the University at Buffalo. System administrators wanted fewer manual processes, less opportunity for human error, and a centralized way to manage access across multiple resources. At the same time, center leadership needed better reporting, annual project updates, and more consistent information about research outcomes. We realized these goals were connected. By creating a system that manages projects and allocations centrally, we could improve both operational efficiency and institutional reporting. This slide illustrates, in a cheeky way, why many centers eventually decide they need something like ColdFront. On the left is what resource management often looks like without a centralized system. We have spreadsheets, ticket systems, emails, scripts written by someone who left 5 years ago, maybe a database nobody wants to touch for fear of breaking it, and probably a few processes that only work because Mary in the office knows the secret sequence of steps. Every individual piece might work, but together it can become difficult to manage, difficult to audit, and definitely difficult to scale. On the right is the same workflow with ColdFront. Researchers request access, administrators review and approve requests, and integrations handle provisioning and lifecycle management. So while I can't promise ColdFront will eliminate all of your spreadsheets, it can at least reduce the number of spreadsheets you have to be emotionally attached to. The goal is simple: fewer disconnected processes, less manual effort, and a much cleaner path from a user's request to resource access. Everything in ColdFront revolves around 3 concepts: resources, allocations, and projects. Resources are the systems and services being managed. Allocations define access to those resources. And projects organize the people, allocations, and research information associated with a research effort. While the details can vary from site to site, most ColdFront workflows ultimately come back to the relationship between projects, allocations, and resources. Resources can represent almost anything a center wants to manage. That might be clusters, storage platforms, cloud resources, or resources that aren't physical infrastructure at all, such as software licenses or databases. Resources contain metadata and attributes that support automation and policy enforcement. For example, resource attributes may include information needed by the Slurm plugin. They might define access restrictions, specify license requirements, or simply store administrative information like end-user license agreements. The flexibility of the resource model allows ColdFront to adapt to many different environments. Allocations manage the life cycle of access. They determine who can access a resource and for how long. They contain information such as account names, limits, group memberships, storage quotas, and other site-specific settings. Users can be notified when allocations are approaching expiration, renewal processes can be enforced, and access can be automatically removed when allocations expire. This helps ensure resources are managed consistently and according to your policies. Projects are the primary interface between researchers and your center. A project contains users, allocations, publications, grants, a project description, the field of science associated with the research, and other information about the research effort. Principal investigators can manage membership, request resource allocations, update research outputs, and potentially monitor their group's activity. Role-based permissions allow different levels of access for PIs, delegated managers, project members, and center staff. Now, let's look at the overall workflow that ColdFront supports. First, system administrators define resources that reflect the systems and services available at your center. Those resources can contain attributes used for automation, setting limits, reporting, or policy enforcement. Researchers then create a project and request allocations to the resources they want to use. At that point, ColdFront begins managing the review, approval, and provisioning workflow. One of the major benefits of ColdFront is self-service management. Research groups can request access to resources, manage project membership, update publications and grants, and maintain project information themselves. This reduces the amount of administrative work required from center staff while improving the quality and completeness of the information being collected. Researchers gain flexibility, and administrators maintain oversight through approval workflows. Many centers need a way to ensure project information stays current. ColdFront includes an optional project review process that allows centers to require periodic updates from principal investigators. When this feature is enabled, principal investigators are required to complete their project review every 365 days, or a time span that you customize. Researchers are asked to verify and update project information, review user membership, and provide updated research outcomes. Centers can also tie policy enforcement to the review process, requiring project reviews to be completed before new allocation requests or renewals are allowed. Once allocation requests are submitted, administrators review and approve them. During that process, allocation-specific attributes can be configured and validated. When allocations become active, users are notified and access can be provisioned through integrations with your local systems. When allocations expire or users are removed, those same integrations can automatically revoke access. This creates a consistent and auditable lifecycle for resource access. This slide shows examples of the allocation management interface. ColdFront provides administrators with a centralized location to review requests, manage approvals, track status, and monitor allocation information. Customizing this review process for your center's workflow is easy with role-based permissions. Instead of relying on multiple disconnected systems, the workflow is consolidated into a single platform. Now, this is a video showing a little bit of what it looks like for that process I just described. This is an example project that a PI would be able to view. We have our users, the allocations to the resources that the group has access to. You might have project attributes, and then the PI or a manager can add grant information, publications, research outputs, and you can add notes or notifications to the group on the project. It's very easy to add new users simply using a username. When we search our database for that username, we'll be presented with all of the allocations on the project, and we can select either all of them or a subset of those allocations to add the user to. Once added to the project, we can take a look at one of the allocations that we've added the user to and view the details of that allocation. We'll see that we have our new user added to the allocation, and then we can also see some of the allocation attributes that we have added to this. We have a Slurm account because this is a Slurm allocation, a cluster allocation. We have a Unix group that allows access to our login nodes. And then we can take a look at one of the allocations we did not add that user to, and we can see that only one user, the PI, is on this allocation. And so that user would not even see this cloud allocation when they log into ColdFront. We can easily request access to new resources. In our drop-down menu of options, the PI is only going to see those resources that you allow them to see. They provide a justification for the request, and then they can select which users from their project that they'd like to add to the allocation. Once added, that allocation is in the new status, and your administrators are going to get an email notifying them that you have a new allocation request. There's no information set on this allocation yet, no attributes, no start or end date. Your administrator can go in, take a look at the pending allocation requests, and then take action on that at this time. That's where you would set up your allocation attributes and activate it. We also have a concept of an allocation change request, which we often use for our storage allocations. We have a set storage allocation each group gets, but they can purchase more. So they request a change, they tell us how much they'd like, and then they provide us a justification. And oftentimes we also have to get an account number and things like that. Once they submit that request, the allocation change request is in a pending status, and our administrators can view that as well. So they go and take a look at that, at the details, they can see the reason behind it, and then once they click approve, the quota on the allocation automatically gets increased from, in this case, 2 terabytes to 4. And you can have a process on the backside on your system that's actually increasing that quota. So that's a very basic, very quick review of the workflow of ColdFront, and just one way you can do, this is our way, but there are many other ways you can actually do things in ColdFront. Beyond operational management, ColdFront helps centers demonstrate value. Projects can collect publication information, grant data, and other research outcomes associated with resource usage. Because researchers are responsible for providing this information for their projects, centers can build a more complete picture of the impact their infrastructure is having on research and education at their institution. This information is extremely valuable for annual reports, strategic planning, and funding proposals. ColdFront was designed from the very beginning to be extensible. Its plugin architecture allows integration with job schedulers, identity management systems, storage platforms, vendor APIs, and custom institutional workflows. Every HPC center has unique policies and infrastructure. Rather than forcing everyone into a single model, ColdFront provides a framework that can be adapted to your center's requirements. The project continues to evolve actively. Here are just a few recent updates. The project has been moved from under the University at Buffalo to its own repository on GitHub, allowing it to continue to grow as a community endeavor. The latest release includes enhancements, bug fixes, modernization efforts, and numerous community contributions. The project has also established working groups focused on areas such as architecture, governance, plugins, and soon documentation. These groups help guide development and provide opportunities for broader community participation. All are welcome to join any of these groups at any time. Looking ahead, work is underway on ColdFront version 2. This effort is focused on simplifying the architecture, reducing complexity, improving the ability to easily customize your installation, and making integrations easier to develop and maintain. Many of these changes are informed directly by feedback from institutions that have been running ColdFront in production for years. The goal is to make the platform even more flexible and easier to deploy. This slide provides a snapshot in time of project activity and adoption. ColdFront continues to attract users and contributors from academic institutions, government organizations, and private research institutes around the world. The growth of the community and continued development activity demonstrate that this is an active and healthy open source project. One of the strengths of ColdFront is its community. Every month, we host a virtual community conversation where current users, new adopters, and prospective users can ask questions, share experiences, and discuss future development. These meetings are informal, collaborative, and open to anyone interested in the project. Recordings are also available for those who cannot attend live, but we have set the time to be conducive to most of the US and Europe, so we hope you can join us. If you'd like to learn more or get involved, we've got several resources available. The website is the best starting point for information about the project and community activities. The documentation provides installation and administrative guidance, while GitHub is where development and contributions happen. We've received a lot of feedback on the documentation and know it's in great need of improvement, which will be a major factor in the new release. We also have an active Slack community where users can ask questions, share ideas, and collaborate with other sites. If you'd like to try ColdFront yourself, Docker images are available to help you get started quickly, but it's also extremely easy to install with pip too. Whether you're evaluating ColdFront, planning a deployment, or looking to contribute, we'd be happy to have you join the community. As I wrap up, I'd like to emphasize that ColdFront is much more than a software product. It's a community of HPC professionals working together to solve common challenges around resource management and access control. The project has benefited tremendously from the ideas, feedback, bug reports, feature requests, and code contributions from institutions around the world, and that community continues to shape where ColdFront goes next. Thank you for your time, and I hope you'll explore the project, join a community meeting, and consider becoming part of the ColdFront community. We'd love to hear from you.
Okay, so we have Dori live to answer questions. Somebody wants to ask something?
Hola, buenas tardes. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you, buenas tardes.
So the audience is a bit shy today. So now it's a question for the audience. So have you ever tried ColdFront? No?
Dori, for you,
so
nobody
we did.
raised the hand.
Yeah. So ColdFront has been born and built and designed around academic environment. But I see a lot of potential also for industry. So whereas in academic environment, you want to show how much research funds you are aggregating and how much revenue you get in the uni, I see, well, we have clients that they are evaluating the cost of the platform, that then they are renting or allowing other clients or third-party clients to use it, to consume that. Okay. So this goes from life sciences or pharma industry that they offer this as a service, but this service comes with a cost. Having something that can compare what I pay, for example, on AWS or the total cost of ownership of an on-premises cluster compared to how much I'm getting from this as a commercial service, that could be a massive input in there. So how difficult could be to integrate something like this in ColdFront?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm glad you brought that up because oftentimes we are speaking to groups that are in the academic HPC arena. However, we did build in the ability to turn off some of the sections of the project. So sometimes a group won't want to request that their researchers enter publications or grant information or research output. You can turn any one of those off or turn all of them off. So that's one thing I would probably do for your customers. And then I think there's a lot of potential for integrating different tools with ColdFront to say, you know, this is what, if you're using a cloud resource, this is what it's costing you on AWS, or if you're using, you know, Google Cloud, this is what it's costing you. And there are a lot of groups that are already doing that type of integration at the academic level.
That's good to know. And then I also have another question. So the impression that we got, maybe you can give more information around that, but the time that we have been exploring ColdFront, it looks more centric on the regular HPC workload managers, such as Slurm. I was wondering if you have currently the need to capture the usage in other kind of environments, like, for example, a Kubernetes environment.
Yeah, that's also a great question. We do know that there are some people using Kubernetes and those types of environments, but we are not aware of any public plugins for other workload managers. One of the main impetuses of our community conversations each month is to try to get more information out of the current users to say, like, how are you using ColdFront? What are you doing with it? And is there any way that you would want to contribute, you know, some of that work to the public so that others can see, and potentially, even if it's not exactly what you would want to use, you could at least see the thought process and modify, you know, the use case for yourself. So right now, I'm not aware of any public integrations with Kubernetes, but that's a great point. Because I was also here for the end of the last presentation about the scheduler, and you know, we definitely want to be considering all the different types of schedulers.
Thank you so much.
Okay, any other question from the audience? No, if not, I think we can move on. Thank you, Dori, again, really nice presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.